In this video, we will discover UV mapping. So UV mapping, here you see there is UV editing in this section. You can imagine in a big studio, in a big 3D studio, all this stuff here is one job. Okay, so for example, some people, they will do only UV editing or only texture paint or only shading. And so it's a big part to understand UV editing, but I will try to show you the basics like this. If you have to unwrap a model yourself, you will be free to do it easily. So let's go into the UV editing interface. I will just adapt the screencast keys over there. I will just go here and maybe manage a little my shader to add cavity over there and put a matte cap into it, and that's it. Okay, let's go. And now what I would like to do is show you that with Suzanne. First of all, let's add Suzanne. You can see that when you add an object by default in Blender, it will be already unwrapped. So if I go into Suzanne here, you can see the result in 2D. So why we do that? Maybe you didn't understand well, but if you go into the shading, when we did use texture sets, when you use a texture with pixel informations behind this 2D geometry, each face, so for example this face here, we can just tweak here this part like this. We can select the same on the right and the left side, on the 2D and the 3D view. And so like that, you will understand that this face will be projected over there. And if there is an information behind this face, pixel information, it will take this pixel information. So that's why it's very important to unwrap models when you want to use UV into your shaders, for example. So here, what we want to do, it's showing you that you can select by edges as well, by faces here, okay? And you can do already a lot of stuffs in the UV. You can transform, move, rotate. It's almost the same. When you do L, you have an entire Iceland that goes with you. And when you select with this part here, when you don't enable this, when you select a part here, for example, with L, you will have everything that is selected over there. For example, the eyes are not selected, they will not show up there. And if I select them, I will, it will show the eyes, for example, here, unwrapped. So, so here we can see how it works basically with Suzanne. We will see how to define these islands and how to create them ourselves. But for now, let's have a look on different models that we have. So let's, for example, add a UV sphere. A UV sphere, as it says, it's UV unwrapped as well, and it will make the same kind of effect that we can have on Earth map, for example. Okay, so here, if you add an Earth map behind, then, for example, let's do it. I will search that. So here you can see on this website that you can download directly a map. So I will just download maybe that map over there. Okay, so I have this map. I will just download this image. Okay, so it's in my download section here. And what I will do, I will just open this image now. Just this one. Okay, let's go. We have this. So here we have this nice image that we want to use into that model. So what we can do, we can go into the shading, add a new shader, add this texture here to this shader. Just click and drag like this. And look, it will map perfectly into that. Because here, what we have, if we go into the rendered or half rendered view like that, we can see that this information over there in here, Africa, okay, it's the same point here than here. So if I move that one in the 2D view, you can see the result in the 3D view. It would move the informations behind. So that's why it's important to understand this system and how it works, basically to make good unwrapping. So basically, when you unwrap a model, what is good is to not have overlap. Sometimes there are some exceptions, but yeah, basically it's good to use like that. And let's go and dive into another model, and I will show you why we have to unwrap manually, because you will tell me all those models are already unwrapped. Yeah, but if you add a cube, for example, okay, let's add a cube and let's go without this texture. And okay, we go into edit mode. We have the shape of the cube that we did when we were child. Okay, when we were kids, we did some stuff like that with paper and scissors, okay, to make a cube. But if I change the topology of the cube here, okay, let's go into and add this maybe, and add another one here, okay, and maybe extrude this like that. Let's go like this, and maybe let's add a new loop over there. Just create a kind of basic complex, more complex shape like this, okay. Now if I select everything here, you see that there are no changes of the global shape here. So I will have to unwrap everything, because this, for example, this face over there is just an edge here, and it will not possible to catch informations. So everything that did not move in the beginning will catch good informations, but the rest will be a little strange. If I add just this texture over there to show it, okay, so here, and add here just the same shader into my object, okay, the shader with the texture into it, we will see that here everything is okay, it's mapped correctly, let's say, but here we see that the informations are really not good. So, and everything is very stretched because of that. So we'll have to unwrap everything back to make it. So when you have just a basic shape, a basic primitive in the beginning, it's already well unwrapped and you don't have to worry about. But when you change this by modeling, so you can imagine if you model a robot, or if you model an entire character or an animal or whatever, or even a chair, you will have to unwrap that. So it's important to understand that to continue this. And sometimes you need to have the texture behind, sometimes not, but basically we will see that there is a dedicated menu into Blender for unwrap a model. It's the U section, okay? So the U will help you to unwrap, okay, and will help you to mark seams. There are two ways of making unwrapping in Blender. You have the projection, let's say 3 ways. You have the smart, okay, like everything will be projected automatically, but you don't really control what Blender does. It's made on an angle. You have the projection, and it's project from view or cylinder projection, so yeah. And you have the mark seam, and it's the one that you have to learn to make good unwraps. So first of all, let's imagine here, for example, in a cylinder, okay, let's imagine here where to put the seams. So the seams will be the edges that you will select to can have this kind of cutting in the end. Okay, so if I want to make this kind of shape, this kind of unwrap shape myself, here it's made by default, but let's make it together just with the manual here possibility. So I will select this and I will click on U and mark seam. And you see that when I mark a seam here, it appears in orange and stays in orange red like this, okay? So I make a right click, and like this, what it will do, you can make a right click actually with mark seam, it will make the same. And right click, mark seam, okay? So now what it will do, without that one first, if I try to unwrap the model now, what it will do? So I will just use the U unwrap here, angle based. And we can see that these two faces are well unwrapped, okay? But we can see that the rest is not well unwrapped because it needs another seam. Imagine this in paper and that you want to cut somewhere to flatten it somewhere, okay? It's always this that you have to imagine. Sometimes I use other images, but it's a little horrific actually. But let's imagine you hunt an animal and you want to flatten the skin of the animal where you cut. Yeah, I know it's difficult, but it's a good image. I never do this myself, but it's a good image to understand how it works. But you can imagine this in paper, and yeah, where you cut to flatten everything. So it will be there, obviously. You will have a full cylinder, you cut in the center here, and you can unwrap everything. So here I make a mark seam. You can clear seam, as you can see, if you made a mistake. And now if I select everything and use the U unwrapped angle based, you can see that now it's unwrapped well. And then you can select what you need and change the location of it, okay, if needed. And the goal is to take as much as possible a pixel behind the geometry. So maybe something with SX here. There is no Z, so it's just X and Y. And basically now we have something similar than before, okay? And so I did it manually here. So for more complex shapes, we will see that it will be a little more complicated, but already you know that you can mark seam and unwrap if needed. If I make angle based, not the angle based, sorry, but Smart UV Project, the automatic method here, so it will create something like that. So it will take half of this, and yeah, make a shape like this. But you see that maybe there are little overlappings here. It's not really perfect actually. I really don't like this one for more complex shapes. Let's take another example here with a sphere, an icosphere, and I will just divide this like that, just to have some nice shape. So maybe manually, if you want to do this manually, you can just click and drag here with control click and select this loop over there and come until the beginning over here, okay, and make right click, mark seam, and maybe you cut into another side. But what it will do here, if I unwrap, so Blender will make his best to fit what I did ask. So this is a good way to understand that if you have some stretching, it can be a little complicated. And for this, we will create a new texture, and I will show you how it works here. So I create just a new texture, and it will not be a color blank, it will be a UV grid. As it says, a UV grid creates this kind of pattern just to see if we have a nice unwrapping here. How to see if you have a good unwrapping? You just go into the shaders, select the texture that you did create, and click and drag it into a new material here, okay? And now you will see that there are some stretching here. I come back into UV editing and come back into here, rendered view. So we can see that these parts here have little here little squares, and here it's bigger. It means that there is some stretching. We can already see it here that the triangles are more little here, so the squares under will be bigger. So it's a good way to see if you have a good unwrapping or not. So maybe it needs more cuts to de-stretch it. But let's come back into our other unwrapping technique. So let's go into here the U, and it will be this time Smart UV Project. So it will make some cuts like this, okay? You can see here. So it's based from different angles every 66 degrees, okay, and make something around this. And so, yeah, it's not really easy to control this. With the seams, you can really control everything. But usually it doesn't stretch that much. So in the end, you have something like that, but with a lot of cuts that you didn't control really. And these cuts, they can show sometimes. So that's it for the basic, how to start to unwrap models. And we will see into the next videos that there are, let's say, two ways of thinking to make shapes, to unwrap shapes like that. So we will see just basic shapes, geometric shapes like this. We will continue to explore this, and after we will see this with an entire character to unwrap this character. So that's it for this video, and we will see into the next video how to unwrap basic geometric models. In this video, we will see how to unwrap basic models. So here we have a cup and a table. We will see that after explaining a little more how to extract or how to unwrap basic shapes. So first of all, let's add, for example, a cube, okay? And this cube, I would like to show you how to make it manually. So basically, you will have to think about cylindrical shapes, or maybe squarish shapes like this. And for example, let's make a SZ into this object, okay? And how I would just make this kind of unwrapping. So let's go into UV editing. By default, it's like this. I can clear everything here by going there into UV maps and clear everything. When I will do my next UV unwrap, it will create a new UV map. Okay, so I have this shape that I would like to extract. So to unwrap. So here, basically, what you do, you just select here one edge that is on, it can be whatever of these ones, but at least one here like this. And after you create a C shape, okay, just a C shape like this. It can be like this, or it can be like that as well. It can be like that as well, okay? And you make the same shape over there, and it works. So now I make right click or U, and I make clear, mark sharp here like this. And now not mark sharp, mark seam, sorry. And now I select everything and make U unwrap based angle, and you will see that now I will have something that is well unwrapped, okay? So let's say if I forget, for example, one of the C shape here, and I clear this seam, so now I select everything, remake my unwrap, okay? And now you can see that we have this kind of stretched face here because we don't have this that is free. So we have to free it again by add it a mark seam, and now by selecting everything and you can see that we can make this kind of shape. And basically everything is possible to be viewed like that. Let's say, for example, let's add a cylinder. It will be exactly the same system. Okay, so I will hide that one and I will add a cylinder. Maybe with a little more complex shape, let's say, for example, I will add maybe just 16, like this we don't have too much, but something like this, and maybe we will take this one here and make an extrusion like this, a rotation maybe, and another extrusion, and another rotation, and etc. Something like that, okay? So you will have this kind of shape that you want to unwrap now. Basically, it's the same system. You have the base, you have the top here, and you will make this by selecting an edge over there, okay? And after you have two choices. If you want to keep the link and have only one Iceland here, you go there and select until the last one, and you keep this one like this, it will be stick the rest. Or you can go there and you will separate this from the rest because there is an entire loop here. So let's go with the first option, and then just with control click here, I will select this. I will show you here the screencast keys. Like this you will have the shortcuts, and now I make a right click, mark seam, U, unwrapped, by selecting everything, sorry, unwrapped, and you see that I have now everything that is well unwrapped. Here you can see that there is a link between the two, so if I make L, I select everything. If I want just to separate these two, I make Control E, mark seam, and select everything, and you unwrap. And now I have three different islands separated. Sometimes it helps to have a better unwrap to separate more. Like for example, imagine you have the fingers on the hand, okay? Sometimes you will cut into the base of the fingers. Like this, you will have separated fingers into your unwrapped map here, okay? So yeah, it's a basic thing to know. And after everything, every shape that you have in front of you can be separated and just viewed like that, okay, with this system of unwrap. So I will hide this and put this here, okay, if it wants. No, it doesn't want. And I will enable the table first. The table, it's quite simple to understand. So it's the first exercise I want to show to my students usually. Let's go to MATCAP and enable the cavity. Like this we see a little more what we have. So let's imagine a table in wood here, and what we would like, it's not one piece but maybe 5 pieces. Like you have the top of the table and you have here the foot of the table. So let's go for that, and we will go into edit mode. You can see that there are already the seams, so I will clear the seams because I made the exercise before. And here you have the topology of the entire table. So first of all, let's imagine that we have to separate the foot and the top. So we can just for that select these loops over there. So here I just make these manipulations here, over there, and here again, same. Okay. Okay. I will select this. I will select that into the other side as well. Okay, here and there. And do I have everything? It seems that I have everything. Okay, so I did create this selection. Now I make Control E, mark seam, or U, mark seam, or right click, mark seam. It works as well. And now I would like to treat all these foots like a cube. So it's simple. If I treat it like a cube, I will just select the seams here. So as it will be cut and sometimes it can show a bad transition into some textures. The best is to cut the seams where the viewer will see, where it will be less visible, let's say. Okay, so, and I make the C shape that I did talk about. C shape everywhere, just like that, and just like this. Okay, whatever the direction, it will work. C shape in the end of the square, it works. Okay, and you make just Control E, mark seam, select everything, you unwrap, and now we will have our 4 hoods that will be separated like that. Okay, so it's well done, but you can see that the top needs more work because it's not well unwrapped. You can see that when there are some overlapping here, you can see that it shows very well where the overlap is. So it's important to keep this in mind. And what I will do, so I could treat that like a cube, like I did tell you, or in this time we will separate the top and the bottom here of this. And so we will just add these loops over there, make Control E, mark seam, and now what you have, very simply, you will have this. You have the bottom here and the top over there. And the top needs some tweakings because we still have some stretching over there. It's because I didn't select these ones to kind of unwrap like this. Control E, mark seam, I select everything, I unwrapped, angle based, and now you can see that I have really what I want. So let's imagine now you have a wood texture into that. So let's go and create this texture. We know how to make this. We go into shading, we create a new material here. We go into the right folder. So it was here, from what I remember, maybe we can go there like this. We will have the using texture sets, and we will have the texture sets, we have the dark wood, and this is the wood that we want. Okay, so I make Control Shift T here, we know the process, and I just copy this path, sorry. So we make Control Shift T here, go there into the right folder and select what we want. So we'll take the normal OpenGL, we'll take the roughness, and it's enough for what we want. Okay, so now we have a basic wood shader like this. And if we take here into the UV editing, there we have the basic color. And if you go there, you have the result here. So it's well unwrapped here, but we can see that maybe we want the direction of the texture of the wood not appear like that into the foot. So what I will do, I will just select here a foot like this with L and make a rotation 90 degrees. Okay, and you can see that now it's well, the direction is well done here. So I will make the same for all of them. L, R, 90 degrees, okay, G, and in that specific case, you can overlap the information in some cases. For example, if I put this foot here, so this part here will take the same information as this part here, okay? So it's not really a problem actually. But in some cases, it's better to have real islands. So R 90 degrees for that one, and I just put it here. And now look at this, we have really what we want. We could even make a little change, like for example, maybe that part of the table, we would like a rotation 45 degrees. As you can see here, you have a texture that it's seamless, so it repeats itself. So if you go over the texture, it will repeat itself. So if you scale it with a big amount, you can see that it will repeat a lot, and maybe at the moment you will see the repetition. We start to see it already a little. But here, like for example, if you want to take more information for everything, like let's say we have something like that, so you take everything and you scale it up, and now you will have this kind of behavior like that. So now we have a right table. Good. So you can see that it's very important to control really after your shaders and how to map your textures. Just with basic objects already, it really makes the work. So now let's go and continue. Let's go with the cup here. The cup example is very important as well, because here we will have other unwrapping techniques and other mapping techniques here as well. So we will not use this texture, we will use another texture that I did download for you. I did just create for you actually. So let's go into open, and I did just add the Blender logo. And what I would like is adding the Blender logo like this here. Okay, and like this into the other side as well. So what I will do, I will just unwrap first of all my cup. So let's go into edit mode. I will make Control E clear seam like this. You don't see the seams by default, and let's try to understand a little how this will be done. So what we can do first is separate this part. Okay, so this part easy to separate. You just have to select the loop over there. So what I did here, I did just enable this in edit mode. Like this, I can really see here how the loops reacts with the geometry. Sometimes when you have this selected like this, it's a little less precise. So yeah, what I do usually, I just make it like that, like this. I really see what's happening. So now I have this loop. I'm happy with it, so I will make Control E mark seam. Okay, and let's say I would like to separate here the inside of it, so I will select that loop here and make Control E mark seam again. So now let's imagine that if I put a loop that will join these two, everything should work well. So let's start from here and continue with Control click, continue until there, and join the other loop over here and make Control E mark seam. So let's try to unwrap that already. Okay, so we have this, and you make U unwrapped, and what you will have looks a little crazy because this part is not unwrapped well. Okay, so what you can do, you can separate this part, for example, and that's what we will do. We will just separate this part here and here and make Control E mark seam, and we will just treat it like a cylinder. So we will take this loop over there, okay, and just treat it like a cylinder until here. Now I can make Control E mark seam. I select everything back and make a U and wrap angle paste. Now look at this. You have here the handle. Here you have the body here, the bottom, and the top. On the inside. So what you can do as well is separate this in two, because we would like to share an information 2 times. Like if we watch the Blender logo here, there is only one logo to share, and I would like the information goes into the right side and into the left side as well. So to control a little more all of this, I will just add this loop over there. Okay, continue until here, and then continue until here, and then continue until here. And like this, it will cut in 2 parts. So I will make Control E mark seam, and then select everything, and you unwrapped again. Okay, now we have 2 sides, the right side and the left side over there, and I can control this like this. I will probably need to cut the inside as well. Like this, it will be separated. So I will go and select that loop here, Control E Maxim, and now I have everything that I need. So if I make my final unwrap, I go with U, unwrap angle based, and look, we have finally what we want with everything selected here, okay? So now what we can do, we can tweak this to make it better. Yeah, now we will have something good. And yeah, let's go and manage the projection of the texture here. So first of all, let's go into shader, create a new shader, just add this texture into our shader, just like that. Click and drag, color to color, very easy. Now we have this, and we can see a little of the Blender information that goes here, but it's not well mapped. So let's go into the UV editing now. And if we want to map it well, we have to see the shader here, or it will not show. So let's say, for example, I will just make a scale of this and put it just in the white part over there, okay? So this is in the white part, this, I want it in the white part as well. And maybe we'll make some little tweaks into these parts. So the inside, the bottom, the top, everything has to be in the white part like this. Like this, everything is white. Now, if I want to take these informations, I will take the right part here. And look, if I just put the Blender logo, scale this into the right amount, with the right amount, maybe a rotation 180, and now I have my Blender logo. Look at that, very easy to manage. Sometimes you have to scale it into the y-axis a little to make it appear well, and scale it up a little as well. And look at this, you have Blender logo into the cap. So I will make exactly the same with the other side, okay? So I will select this part here and scale it up, put it into the right place, just invert it actually. So make a rotation 180, somewhere here, make SY to make it appear more beautiful, and scale it up a little, put it into the right place, and look at that. You have the Blender logo over here. So it's a good technique. You can hide maybe that part, and no, we'll not hide this. But what is good to understand is that you have the blue information here, the orange information here, and I could paint into whatever image editor, or even in Blender, for example, paint a part here like a dark part, a black part, okay? So let's say, for example, I go into texture paint, we will see that we will see that quickly. And yeah, I will just paint a part over there here, okay? So we will see how to manage that, but you will see that it's easy to understand. So I just paint a part over there and save the image, okay? It has to be saved. So I save this image here. Maybe this part is overlapping this, so it's not good. So I will make Ctrl Z. I will just have a little part, just like this. We don't need a lot, just 1 pixel actually, it's enough, okay? And I save this image. And maybe I will just add a red part as well. Okay, so let's add a red part over here. Good, just a little island of pixels. It's enough to make it work. And now I go and save this image. Okay, so now my image is saved. I come back into UV editing. What I can do now, actually, it's, for example, make my handle red. So I just select the handle and put it inside the red pixels. So now I have something like this. And maybe I would like the back and the inside to be black. Maybe the back in black, the bottom in black, the inside is in black as well, or maybe the inside we can take the same color and take the blue. We can make it very little like this and put it in the blue side. Like this you will have blue there, okay? So it's really not a good color, a color choice, the red for this example. But yeah, let's say, for example, here, this part, the inside, we would like it in orange. So let's go into the orange part. Okay, and again, for this one, I scale it down and put it into the orange side. And now look, you did manage some colors into your cup. So I don't really like this one. I will keep it white. It will be better. But yeah, you can see that you can really make some nice changes, and just by adding some islands with this system, you will can really change everything that you want into your project. So it's a very very powerful method to add some colors into your objects as well, just with simple colors like that. So it's another way of doing it compared to the table. Okay, so it's a very different way of doing this. So you have this example with the Blender logo, you have this example with the table as well. Okay, and after we will increase the difficulty, we will go into organic models, and for that we will take an entire character. Like this you will really see how it works, and you will see that there is some work into a character to unwrap it entirely, but actually it's not that complicated. So I will show you that into the next video. In this video, we will see how to unwrap an entire organic model. So here we have a full character that comes from Blender demo files. Again, you can have a look at it here into the demo files. You can see that there are a few characters, so human-based meshes here, just to simplify your workflow. So here you have a few examples of different characters. I did choose the male toon, but you can make some experiment into other characters as well. So here I have this model and I would like to unwrap it correctly. I did remove any UV map information here. If you want, I will just save the file in the end of the tutorial. If you want to make the exercise, you just remove any UV map and you go in edit mode and you clear every seams and you can redo the entire exercise. So let's think a little of the different parts that you can think that we could treat like geometric shapes, basic shapes. So here, for example, here just into the arm, I will just go there and show you how to think for an entire model like that. So here, let's draw a little. Here, you have a cylinder, okay? Here, you have a cube. Here, you have a cylinder. Here, you have a cylinder, okay? Here, you have a big cylinder. Here, you have a cylinder. And it will be like that we will treat the entire model, okay? So for here you have a sphere, but basically it's treated like a cylinder. And maybe you have some more complex shapes like the ears and inside the mouth or things like that. But basically it's like this that you think when you want to unwrap a model like that, okay? So what we can do, here we are lucky we have a mesh that is totally symmetrical. So we can we will have a gain of time like this. I will go into the subdivision surface, click on optimal display, and here having this like this, I can really see more the geometry. I will go into UV editing, remove this texture here that I did create to make the tests, and I will start to focus into the head. Okay, so what I will do, I will make something very basic, and it's a technique that is used for the heads always, so you can really understand how it works. First of all, I will separate with this loop, so the loop of the neck over there. I may Control E, mark seam, and we have already something that is separated like that. Okay, and then I will create a scene behind the neck like that and go until almost the front like this. Okay, so let's keep this shape like that and just make Control E, mark seam again. Now I will select everything and make a U and wrap. It will take a little time. And what we have here, we have all the body that it doesn't work well because we have a lot of things that to make here to make it beautiful. Here in that space we have a lot of vertices, so it's not what we want. But here we can see already that we have a basic shape that works well for the entire face. But there are some stretching. We can see that there is a lot of stretching there over near the eyes. There are some stretching into the nose as well. There is some stretching here inside the mouth, and there is some stretching into the ears over there. So we can just cut these parts. Basically, it's like that you can manage this. So to manage this, we will just make a cut here with Control E, mark seam. Okay, and make a cut over there into the other side. Okay, so we will see that we will not have to make everything into the other side. I will show you the technique after, but for the arm, let's just make it manually like that. Inside the mouse here, you have a big shape to represent the inside of the mouse. So what we will do, we'll select a loop over there. Not that one. Over there might be good, even if it's not really the one that I wanted. Over there, yes, maybe more that one. Okay, and make Control E, mark seam again. So here we can see that the mouse, it's a sphere, so it has it needs to have a basic cut into it. It's not a sphere, it's more like a cylinder. So we'll make a basic cut over there and separated this part in two parts. So to can do that, what we can easily do is just go into the vertices mode and hide this part. Okay, and like this we can just see a little more what will happen inside. In perspective view, we can go inside, as you can see, and now you can select that loop, and it will not create an entire selection as we did hide the loop that was there. And now we can put back the loop that we had with Alt H. So I will come back in this kind of view, Alt H like this, and you have the right selection to make Control E, mark seam. Okay, so this loop will be inside. So this was a little the difficult part, let's say. For the rest, we can just cut over there, maybe here. Let's see a little how it looks here. Yeah, I think we can cut over there. Come back to this with this option, I prefer. So we can cut the entire ear like that. Yeah, and it will be good. And then we will see how it's unwrapped. But let's make Control E, mark seam. So if you don't want to make the same into the other side, it's a mesh that is for now totally symmetrized. So what you can do, you can select everything and go into the mesh here, symmetrize. And what it will do, it will take basically the left side and put it into the right side. We want to make the inverse. So here, and like this, you will have the loop that will appear. That will appear directly here. So now we can select everything and make you unwrapped. And we can see that we have holes and far less here stretching into these parts. We can see the inside of the mouse here. We can see the ears. Actually, it's good like this. We have something that looks good. And we can see the entire of the eyes. Where is the last part? Ah, it's here. Entire of the eyes and entire of the nose here. Okay? So basically, it looks good. We are happy with that. Now, what I can do, I can continue and see what will happen with the rest of the body. So I will have to cut somewhere over here, let's say maybe here, okay? Maybe, yeah, maybe here can be good. I would say that here it's a nice loop, okay? So I will select that loop, and then after, from the beginning of this loop, I will make Mark Sim, go in orthographic view. From the beginning of this loop, so sometimes it's a little difficult to catch, and we want to follow a line that will be hidden mostly. So inside like this, it's a good loop. So I would say that I will continue here until the wrist. Okay, and I will cut the wrist. So it will be maybe that loop over there. Okay. So here we make Control E Mark Sim, and now we make mesh symmetrize. Like this we have both, and we reselect everything and make you unwrapped. So now we can see more, and now we have the arms just like this. Very easy actually. Now we will continue. So what I like to do, some people they like to separate all the fingers and separate the end. But there is a technique that I like well to make only one loop easy, and to make only one part for the entire end. So for this you have to follow this technique and select the loop that goes through the finger here. So it might be that one. Okay, and what we do, we select and we continue to select this loop until we have everything selected like this, just with control clicks. Okay, it should work well with this technique. So control click, you see that it takes the loop inside as well. And actually we cut the hand in half. Okay, and we stop here over there, and we will see how it unwraps, and maybe we'll make some modifications, but we will see. So let's make Control E Mark Sim. What it will do in that case, I reselect everything, make a symmetrize with mesh symmetrize. What you can do now after unwrap, it's you watch here the end. So look, actually there are no overlapping, everything is well unwrapped. So it's a technique that I like. The other technique, you can just separate the fingers, but it creates more islands. So sometimes you want something more efficient and easy to manage, so you just make this, and sometimes you cut the fingers to have another way of doing unwrapping technique like this. Both works well. So yeah, this one is easier in my opinion, it's quicker. Now here we can just select this loop to separate the leg. Okay, so very easy to select just like that. Control E Mark Sim, and then as it will be this part over there that will be hidden, we will just make this loop, select that loop over here, and go until the ankles over there. So we will separate the foot after, so I will stop maybe near here, it might be good. Nice. So now I can select this loop and we can Control E, mark sim, select everything, make a mesh symmetrize. If you want to add symmetrize into a shortcut, you can put it into a shortcut. It's really something that I use a lot when I model shapes like this. Or you can add to quick favorites with right click. And now if you have the Q, you will have your quick favorites. So you can make a kind of really nice special menu just for you. And now I can unwrap here everything. So what I will have the legs now, that works well, the arms, the hands, the entire body that doesn't work well, it seems, the body part here, the bust, and here we have the feet that we have to manage as well. So for the foot, I can take this entire loop as well. So what I will do, you can see that it's this loop that crossed the entire geometry like that, okay? So what I will do, I will just select a loop over there and I will hide a part. So maybe it should be here. I will hide this part here. And we will see how it works first, because sometimes it doesn't work well. So let's try with this. And we may Control A, mark sim. I will just make an extrusion, an unwrap just for this part, and after we'll symmetrize when we find everything good. So here we can see the result. We have a little overlapping over there, so it needs more cut. And maybe we will need to remove some, so we will see. Or sometimes yeah, let's add more here and one more here. Control E, mark sim. Let's make an unwrap to see the result. Oh, it's worst, so it's less that we have to put maybe in the end. Let's go until here. Control E, mark sim, clear sim, sorry. And now I select everything, and if it doesn't work, we will separate everything into, yeah, this has no overlap, so this is better. Okay, so we can keep the entire foot in one piece, and we make symmetrize for that. So let's go into Q, symmetrize, select everything, and make a U unwrap. Now we have a nice unwrap everywhere except the body. Okay, so for the body here, for the main body, what we will do, we can separate in two parts, okay, or keep it in one part. So when you want to manage it in two parts, you just cut this loop over there and follow it here, from here to there, then here, then here, and then here, okay? So this might work well, and that's what I choose mainly, but sometimes you can just follow this and want to keep in one part, okay? So to keep it in one part, you have to make a big loop here until here, let's say, so from here to here, then add the cut that will go until the loops that you did create there, and you will have to make this kind of loop, kind of cross shape over here, okay, and join the other loops. So it can work less good. So let's have a look on, let's make the two solutions and see how it looks. Like this, you see the two possibilities. So here you have the unwrap like this, and it will create this kind of shape, okay? Sometimes it creates some stretching in some places. Let's have a look of the stretching with the material view here. So I did create the material, the shader already. So we can see that actually it's not stretched. looks good. There is a little stretch on the face, but actually it's normal. This it's very often. So for this, sometimes what you can do, if you don't want that stretch here too much, what you can do is just make a loop like this and go until there. Over here, say. Okay, so if you have this loop here, it can reduce the stretch of the face. So let's add it and make Control E, mark seam. But it makes a seam really in the face, so sometimes you don't want that. So it will really depend on what you want. But now if I make a new unwrap, you can see that the face will be a little less stretched. There is always stretch because it's prominent geometry there, like the nose and here the mouth, but mostly it's normal. And here we can see that we don't have that much stretching for the rest as well. So it looks good. We have something that, yeah, that is regular here with good regularity. So what we will do, I will show you the other system. So what I will do, I will select all of this here, here, and here, and here as well. And I will clear the seam, okay? And come back to the body, and we will make the other technique. So we can split the entire geometry in two. So let's go into there, Control, maybe the left side like this. We will go quicker. Control E, mark seam, and then come back from the beginning and follow the good loop until here. Control E, mark seam, and make a loop here in the center as well. And Control E, mark seam. Now I will make just the symmetrize like this. We have the same into the other side, okay? And then I make the unwrap again. So now what we will have will be something with no, it's not what I did expect. So I did maybe don't have the entire loop over here. I will have a look into wireframe view. Maybe I did miss this one here. You see, if you miss one, you have a strange shape and it will not work well. Just this one, Control E, mark seam. Okay, and now I make again this one, and you see that now I have the front and the back here. Okay, so this one and that one. So it's quite a good unwrapping here. What I will do, because this shape takes a lot of space, so maybe I will cut it there for the head. So I will go there. So basically it's this that I have to cut it here. Okay, Control E, mark seam. I will make another unwrap. So now we can see the two parts, and now you see that it takes quite a good space into the 2D view. If you want to reorganize and make it automatically, you don't have to make L and scale and make rotation, and you can really do it automatically by selecting everything and go to UVs, and you have something that is called seams, no, not seams from Iceland, it's pack Iceland. And you can see that when you pack Icelands, it will just take the best space as possible into the 2D space like this. So it didn't change that much, so maybe it's well done. And with this option here, with the pack Iceland, you have the possibility to use a margin. So if you want to keep a margin a little bigger, let's put 0.02 maybe, and pack it again. You see that now I have margin between each part. Sometimes it's good when you paint into a 2D view, it can be good to use that. So this is the way of having a good UV layout like this. So I come back to something with less big margin, like 0.002, and I pack it again. And you see now I have a little margin like that, and it did fill the space as much as possible. A technique that can be important for a character like this is that the face will take more details, because we have often some framing that looks directly the face. So it's important to have more details in some cases. And so in some cases you can scale it up, this one, and scale up all the face parts like this, okay? And it will take more space into the interface. So now you will have to pack it again. So you come back and go to UV and pack it. To pack Iceland's. And again, it will pack this. Now you can see that it takes more space. So now you will have more informations into the face of the character. And so now you have this kind of pattern, because you can add more pixels. So when you zoom directly and when you frame directly the face, you will not have some bad pixels here or things like that. So you can add more informations in the part that you want. For example, if this part here is under closes always, it doesn't need a lot of pixels under. So maybe you can stretch it and put it a little, make it more little into the UV space. So that's it for the UV unwrap. And that's it for this chapter as well. I think in the next chapter we will see how to paint our models. Yeah, we will go into texture paint. So I will show you how to paint models and how to use the tools and the specific tools of the texture paint here. So let's go for that into the next chapter.